Welcome back to another episode of Veg Networking Canada, where vegan, plant-based people and companies connect. It's important to honor, acknowledge, and respect that many of us are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of many Indigenous peoples across Canada. Today, we have a special guest with us, a documentary producer and director, an author, she'll tell us more about that, and a champion for helping people rediscover their truth. Veg Networking Canada is pleased to introduce the founder of Wild Heart, Spirit Heart. Welcome, Susan Turner.
Thank you very much for having me on as a guest. It's an honor and I'm really grateful.
Well, we're super grateful to have you. And like we always do with our special guests that we speak with, can you tell us the story of what led you to go vegan?
Yeah, we were living in Bristol in England at the time, editing a film there on cougars with the BBC. And my daughter bought a book at a little bookstore that was on the street where we lived. And it was about why to become, I don't know if it was vegan or vegetarian at the time, but it talked about, it was written for children, like young teens, but it was really about, athletes that were vegan, how it was good for your health, how it helped the earth, all the reasons to go. And we weren't at the time, our family, and we sat down as a family and we read the book together and in one evening and said, okay, that's it. Tomorrow we changing our life. And so it was great. It was very fun. And yeah, learning to cook uh and do that was, I was exciting.
Not to put you on
So
the spot, but do you recall the name of the book?
I don't know. I wish I
Okay.
did. Yeah, I wish we had it, but I don't. But it was just she was about 10 and it was written for that age group. But a really amazing all around book. Yeah, but I don't.
Maybe offline I'll try and get you to dig your memory and think if you can think about it because that sounds great. And also too, very cool about the cougars. I don't know why, but personally, my favorite animal has always been cougars, and I don't really know why. I've never seen one, never been around them. I don't know much about them, but that's also something I'd like to know more about. So thanks for sharing that. Um, Now, in terms of your work with your retreat center and everything, you might not look at yourself as like an entrepreneur or a business owner, but in essence, you totally are, right? Like running a nonprofit. Oftentimes, people don't look at themselves as entrepreneurs or business owners, but they fully are. And so, that being said, that framing, like, what is your entrepreneurial origin story, and how did you get involved in what you're doing?
Well, first of all, I Jeff and I worked together for Jeff's my husband. We've been together since we were 15, and we started making films when we were that age. So by the time we were in our early 20s, we had a passion for wanting to film wildlife and go out and film grizzly bears and black bears and wolves and live in the wilderness. And we were incredibly passionate about it. And to me, that is the most important thing. If I was going to say to be a business owner or to want is that passion and that drive and the feeling like there is nothing else you could do. And so, we decided, so at that time, before I got into the Wild Heart, Spirit Heart, we lived in the wilderness and we took our children out there and we filmed with them and we edited mainly in England. But when we started, there wasn't very many wildlife films. People really, I mean, this is over 30 years ago, and people didn't really know about that. And then we went to some meetings, and people said, "No, don't get into that. It's too expensive. You'll never make a living. There's not the market. You'll never find a way." And my feeling with that, and so was Jeff's, was if you feel like this is the only thing for you, you will find a way. And we did. And despite having, nothing, we made it to one of the most successful documentary film companies in Canada. And I would say probably independent film companies in the world, and have filmed all over the world And yeah, so we've done super well. We were nominated not long ago for seven Emmys. So we did great in the filmmaking. Jeff still does that. But one time we were editing in England, and I had a spiritual transformation. And it wasn't something I was really, I can't say I was looking for or planning. It was very, very involved with my life, but I started getting visions and messages from spirit, which I didn't really know I had. Although living in the wilderness, you do go by your intuition. You don't have signposts out there, so you go with what you're feeling, and you learn to trust your heart. And so that followed on when this happened spiritually, started changing, and I started seeing spirit. Jeff and I had a conversation. It's like, do we want, should I, should I, allow this to keep happening to me? I don't know what's happening really. I don't understand it. And that led to um, really my connection to spirit, and that feeling, that passionate feeling, and that same drive that took us into wildlife filmmaking and starting our company, River Road Films, started me feeling like I want to, and this, I guess, was I want to create um, a retreat center where people can come, and we live on the edge of the wilderness. And so, we have the animals around us, and offer it to people so they can get that connection, reconnect to nature, or find their connection to nature, and find their connection to spirit, and connect to their passion, and become empowered to live the life they were meant to live. Because I believe that we all have a reason that we chose to live this life, and we want to discover what that is and find it. And so, yeah, so it's, although the retreats are doing very well, the energy behind it is that inspiration and passion and connection to both nature and to spirit.
Wow. So suffice to say, in and around the age of 15 is when you basically had your entrepreneurial spark and started creating films and then did everything with River Road Films. And, we could have totally put seven-time Emmy award-winning nominee in your intro. Well, that's absolutely incredible. So in terms of what you and Jeff are doing with the retreat center, like where is your work going in the future?
Well, I mean, Jeff is still making films, but he does help out here. I have a group of women that I work with. So we have um, a yoga instructor, we have a plant-based chef. And so we have a group of people here. We have a essential oil massage woman. So we have a little team here out in the wilderness, and so um, and continuing for sure, having people come to a place where they don't feel any sense of judgment, they can speak their truth, they can be there and really connect to themselves, um, honestly and sincerely, and just find silence and stillness to hear themselves, and hear what their heart is wanting to say to them. Where I'm going from here is, I have a big plan to really go global with this. I'm wanting to inspire people through community and connection to raise the vibration of humanity. So it's quite a big a big leap. The retreat center is for sure a stepping stone, a place people can come and get together, and get inspired. But we've got a big project that we're lining up to start. It will probably launch it within a year, and it will be to inspire people through their actions, their thoughts, their to create, to expand the consciousness of humanity to a place of peace and love and kindness.
Well,
And So it's not a small undertaking, but I've never lived my life by hanging back and thinking, can it be done or not? I've always jumped in and said, this is what I'm getting and this is where I'm going. So, and I got a great group of women working with me and Jeff, of course.
Of course.
Always with me. He is. Yeah.
Well, we as a community here certainly love the forward thinking of raising the consciousness of the human spirit, if you would. And it's you know this more than anybody, I'm sure, but speak your big hairy audacious goal to spirit and watch spirit align with and like make move things away and move things into your goals. Um, Now that essential oil massage, I think I saw like a few heads nodding when you said that, and I just like smelt it and I felt it. That sounds incredible. I definitely want that. Where exactly is the retreat center?
It's at Tulameen, which is out of Princeton. So Princeton is a very small town between Hope and the Okanagan in BC. And then once you get to Princeton, you turn and go into the Cascade Mountains. Tulameen is a very small little town. It's mainly a town for people to have second kind of home, recreation homes now. But we're out of Tulameen, up the river road, and right on the edge of the wilderness. So,
Love it.
yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Now, within the retreat center, world. You've already expressed like things that you're doing differently. That being said, are there, I don't want to say trends, but ways that you're transforming that space of retreat centers and making it your own and making it unique? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yes, it does. Our our viewpoint and our vision really is a place of love and compassion and kindness, and with that is being having a plant-based diet, whole foods diet. So that is really it takes center place with our philosophy here and what we're offering. So even a lot of people come that are not plant-based, but once they taste Susanna's cooking, they're like, oh, this is pretty good. And after a few days of being here, they start feeling better and they're feeling clearer and sharper, and they notice a difference within 3 days. People are noticing a difference from the change of diet. She's a very clean, I don't mean clean in the way she is clean, but a cook, like it's pure ingredients. And a lot of the ingredients we grow here, we have a big greenhouses and gardens, and so it's right from the garden to the table, and very inspired. Susanna will often cook just at the last. She'll, oh, I think today we're going to have this, and she's like, and it's very creative, and it's inspiring to people. A lot of people leave and they're like, oh, I want that recipe. I'm going to do that, and yeah, and our dream is that they'll go away and they'll say, plant-based is for me. I can see why. We also have some animal family here that they can go and cuddle with, and like some pigs, some sheep, and they can go in some chickens just so they can get to know them. They can look them in the eye and see who they are and connect to their heart and souls. And I had one lady say to me, "That's a chicken. Like when you eat chicken, that's what you're eating." And I was like, "Yeah, that's it." And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to eat chicken." you know. So yeah, when you see them scratching in the soil not too far from the gardens where you're meditating, it's yeah, kind of
Yeah,
makes that bond.
that sounds absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's like a sanctuary as animal sanctuary as well, and it makes me think of like what you were describing, like farm to table. It makes me think of like soil to spoon. It's like the potato carrot soup that we grow in your now. That's very inspiring for sure. Um, wow. And your retreat center, is it designed for, it's is it designed for, it sounds like it's designed for anybody and everybody. Like it's not a detox center or a rehab center or like who are coming to your center?
Our guests are, I guess, people that do feel that they need a little bit of peace and quiet. They could feel that they needed inspiration to regroup on their life, or maybe have a new way of looking at life, just like to get away from the busyness of life. It is mainly it, but the transformations that people go through when they're here are very profound, because we have forest bathing and we go up on the mountain, and it's connecting to the trees, connecting to the earth. It's so important to us to remember that we are nature, and we want to connect to the earth itself, and to have time to meditate and do the yoga. um we have people that I've had quite a few people here come that are grieving, some people that have lost a child or something, and they're trying to navigate their way through that, and get a new way of maybe seeing their situation with the loss of a child or someone in their life. So it's quite a variety of people that come for different reasons.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say we are nature, it reminds me, I might mess it up, but I think it's the saying, you are not a drop in the ocean, but the ocean in a drop. Is that
Yeah.
word right? Um, Now, in terms of giving back, naturally, a lot of the guests that we have on here, they're literally running a nonprofit, or, the way that they're already being part of this community, giving back to people and the environment and animals and all these different things. But in the essence of giving back, is there anything related to the retreat center that you want to touch on in respect to that?
um I mean, I feel like I'm wanting to give back to the earth in a way, um, because being wildlife filmmakers, and we lived out there filming the beauty of the earth. We saw incredible and profound beauty, both with the animals and with the earth itself. And I have such, huge gratitude and reverence for our planet Earth. And I want to inspire people to want to take care of it. So I mean, I certainly help a lot of people. All of my energy healing that I do, I have never charged money for it, because it came to me spiritually in a way that I hadn't expected. So it's been quite a journey for me. Uh, and but really, I think giving back to the animals and giving back to the planet is really important to me. Animals can't really talk for themselves, so I feel like they need us to speak for them. But I show a film. Some of the films that Jeff and I did talk about the energy of bears and the energy of animals, and how you can see their energy and how they can see our energy. And people have never thought about this. It's never occurred to them. A lot of people don't have the luxury of being able to live with bears for a year or 2 years without seeing people. So it's profound, and that's what I want to give back to. Really, truly, is the earth.
Well, that's great. And that's totally fascinating. I think some other people might know what I'm talking about when we've seen a snippet of like what the human eye can see in terms of, I'm probably messing, but like frequencies or what have you. And it's so limited. It's just a slice of what's actually there. And like we've all heard about, auras that people have, we have, and all these different things. But to think about, yeah, there's our fellow animals who can see infrared or see an aura, like you said, right? Like
Yeah.
just totally, totally fascinating. Um, wow. Could not imagine living with bears and things. In terms of resources, are there any resources, whether that be, you said like spirit, so like I'm thinking that, or your documentaries or anything like that. Of course, we have people who come on who are looking and sharing resources about, mindset around being a business owner and this and that. But also, we've had plenty of people talk about just resources in general that have helped them in their own life be who they truly want to be and who they are, that kind of thing. So, are there any resources that you could mention, your own or others, that have helped you?
Well, this will be a little bit different look at that, but the the more that we I've done a lot of energy healing with people, and I've studied energy, and I've studied our emotional energy and how our emotional energy has a frequency. And so if we take that up and we start thinking about um, how the more evolved we are, the more expanded our consciousness is into the higher frequencies of energy, of love, compassion, freedom, peace. The higher we get on that, which comes back to as well being plant based, because the more plant based we are, the higher we are going to be in our evolution of our emotional evolution. So when you get up to that level, that is the level where manifesting takes place the easiest, because you're on the vibration of the higher consciousness of our emotions. So when you're living in a place of compassion and love and peace, you're in the highest frequency. So you're connecting to your ability to manifest at its very highest level. And manifesting is a profound resource, because if you put out what you want and you're on the vibrational frequency of that, uh, that level to manifest and to be on that level, you bring into your life what you want, whether it's finances or space or people, or that's how I got Susanna and Nikki here. I manifested them literally into my life. And um and our connection to spirit, for years I had no connection to, not knowingly a connection to spirit, but our spirit guides, they're there to help us. And before I started this meeting, I had a little meditation. I asked my guides to come forward to be here with me, and I said, help me find the words if I need to be there, inspire me, come to me. And I've done that through, for 30 years now. I have connected in, and it's we've had, Jeff and I have had meetings in downtown London, interviews with David Attenborough, and and it's always the same. I'm like, okay, let's go in there and let's walk in with our spirit guides, and that connection on that higher level, and get where we want to go with this, and create what we want, because our creativity is at a higher level too, of our higher self, and connecting at that level.
It's funny you ended that way because when you're talking about manifesting, and we've all heard it before, to me, I don't know if I've really thought of it this way before, but as you're speaking, I'm thinking that just is another way of saying co-creating with spirit is what manifesting is, right? Fair to say?
Fair to say. And the field or the universe at a higher level. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting,
for
very
sure.
interesting. So yeah, that's great. And then in terms of like a- practical resources that somebody might be able to learn more about that, or yeah, just are there any practical, like your documentaries or anything that talk about that, or like a website or an app, or I don't know.
You can come to Wild Heart Spirit Heart retreats. We talk about it here. My book, Wild Heart Spirit Heart, that I wrote on my journey through understanding ourselves as energy. I do talk about understanding ourselves on that level. Truly, I do most of my connecting and finding my inspiration and my vision through my meditations and my connections. So I don't have like a lineup of apps. Of course, this one now will be high on my list of recommendation, but
Uh, no, that's awesome. Now, and that's a great segue into the next question, which is who or what inspires you? And it's very obvious, spirit, the people around you, animals, all of that kind of stuff. In that context, just let us know like who or what inspires you, and you can feel free to touch a little bit more on meditation or what have you. But yeah, who or what inspires Susan Turner?
well, I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound like I say the same thing over, but really, I find nature very inspiring because nature is all connected. You know, the trees help each other under the soil. They give each other nutrients. They warn each other of you know, things to be afraid. Like every part of nature is interconnected. Every part of nature is there to create and help and build, you know, create an existence that's complementary and successful. And if we look to nature and how nature works, it's really like, okay, how can I bring this into my own life and see, like, how does this work naturally? I think sometimes we get a little outside of ourselves, and it becomes a bit of a struggle. And if something's becoming a bit of a struggle, we're on the wrong route. It shouldn't be really a struggle. So, you know, if you look at nature, everything just goes together and it works, and you know, it's cooperative. It's not competitive. And if we learn to open our hearts and so and be cooperative and be open and think, you know, we are all one. And once we start thinking that way, it just eases this opening for us to move forward. And it becomes quite, you know, I mean, everything is work and takes time and effort, of course, but it becomes, in a sense, much more effortless.
Well, when
So
somebody, yeah, when somebody, sorry, did you want to continue?
no, I was just going to say, you know, and Jeff has always inspired me because he's a very solid person, and I'm more of a like emotional, a little bit up and down, you know, and around. I'm very excitable, and he's very nice and calm. And I've watched him, you know, run River Road Films and how he is with people, and he's very gentle and kind, and so he's always inspired me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's one thing when hearing you talk about nature that's always interested me so much and just seems so like patently obvious is when you look at rivers and all of that and from a scoped out view and how much it resembles like our veins, or you look at trees and our lungs, or you look at natural, electricity and like the brain synopsis in our brains. Like it's that to me has always been in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of we're all one and all connected and we're not part of nature, we are nature. I've just found that very interesting. So thanks for sharing. And with that question, there's always so many other people that, inspire. We can't list everybody. So thanks for sharing that. Now, um, this is the last one, and it's very like a big open-ended question or topic, I guess you could say. It could be a whole conversation in and of itself. But I will preface by saying that you did mention this earlier on in the conversation as if you would like advice, lessons, or tips about passion. Like have the burning passion that you can't see yourself doing anything else but that thing. Try not to have a plan B, I guess is what I interpreted from that. But if you want to touch more about that or just other general advice, lessons, tips in any respect for people who might be listening in their own personal or professional lives.
Yes, well, I have felt and feel that we come into this life with a purpose and something, we a blueprint that we've designed for ourselves, and our soul remembers what that is, but we forget once we're born what that is. And our way of connecting to where we want to go is through our heart or our heart consciousness. And our heart, when we feel excited about something, we feel inspired, passionate, happy, when something fills us up with joy, when we think of that, I believe strongly it's on a much deeper level, because our heart is like our compass for our soul, and it's telling you which way to go. It's saying, go that way. This is what excites you. And I, you know, from a business point of view, I understand. And I, you know, when I started out, we had a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, you know, 1 year, everything was, oh, this is when we'll have our baby. This is when we'll do this. This will fit in there, you know, when, how to, but, you know, if things can look good on paper, but they don't necessarily align with you. You feel like, oh God, I know I should do that, but I kind of dread that. I dread the thought of that. I don't feel like that. That's your heart connecting to your soul, saying, don't go that way. That is not your plan. That is not what you meant to do. And don't do it. And so even if the numbers line up and it looks like a good idea, it, I would not do that. I would go with your heart. If your heart tells you and pulls you in a direction, your heart is much bigger than something pumping blood through your body. And your heart consciousness, to me, is directly connected, the link to your soul. And your soul knows where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do. A little example of this was when we were starting out and we were in our early 20s. I'll be brief. I don't know, I'll talk too much, but um, we were, we Jeff and I had no money. We were at times living in a tent out filming, doing some little films and working for the government. But anyway, Jeff got offered a job by the government, a job that would have given us security, everything we needed. And we did a big talk with ourselves and we were like, is that what you really want to do? Like, does that feel good? And we're like, it feels secure. There's a paycheck, but no, that isn't where we wanted to go. And Jeff said no to the job. We said no to the job, and we bought an old secondhand camera and got dropped off in the middle of the Arctic, because that's what our soul, our hearts told us to do. It made no sense. We had, you know dried ingredients to rehydrate for food. We got dropped off literally by a little plane on the ice on a lake, a frozen lake, and we got in alignment to film caribou and wolves. And we just and that was heart centered, and it led us to an incredibly successful life that has allowed me now to have the retreat center. Like, it's all been a journey, but if we'd have taken that job, or Jeff had, we would have got stuck there, and then I think it wouldn't have worked out. So I truly feel that, um, when we follow our heart and it's from a place of love and kindness, um, we're going in the right direction.
You keep saying the words that I'm thinking in my mind, and then you say them, and it feels weird. But that was a very what I was thinking was heart centered. Like that's a very powerful way of like the heart being the key to the soul to drive you to the compass to the all those different things. And it's also interesting to think about how the mind is the thing that often can get you feeling stuck or second guessing the heart and the soul. So very, very interesting. Thank you so much. Feel free to like you mentioned there, like keep going about anything that maybe we missed, that didn't come up, or maybe we did touch on something but we didn't touch on it enough. I just kind of want to give you the floor here at the end, or we want to give you the floor here at the end if there's anything that you want to touch on or go back to.
um I guess, being that you're Veg Networking Canada is a very big passion for me, and I really really feel that, you know I don't nag people. I don't try to be that at all in that way. I try to inspire, but I truly feel that our our road, I mean, I don't really use the word overly, or road to enlightenment, but our road, like our journey, our evolution, on an emotional level, has to include being plant-based. And people that I've done healings with, that vibration of love and compassion and peace can only resonate with a person if they are plant-based. You cannot be a true person of peace and love and compassion if you're killing animals and not caring about their welfare. And so, on a very personal level, and I don't push this hard with people that come to the retreats. I respect space. I know that for many years I was eating meat and dairy. So I understand that we're on a journey, and we're on a journey of discovery. But the further I get with the healings and my connection to where we're going as a species and as humanity, it is absolutely through being plant-based. That is crucial to really stepping in and expanding our consciousness. And I think that's why we're all living this life ultimately, is to be the love that we are. And that's, so many people want to know, what is my purpose? And really our purpose and our our life's path is to be in the moment the love that we are. And once we're that, everything else falls into place, and it's quite a beautiful journey. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, peace begins on our plates, and
Oh,
if
that's
you
nice.
yeah, and if you're listening and you want peace, then something to consider for sure. We all want internal peace and peace for others. So beautiful, Susan. Thank you so much. For everybody listening, you can find out more online, wildheartspiritheart.com. And the Instagram is the same, just with an S at the end. So it's Wild Heart Spirit Hearts on Instagram. Everybody who's here with us live, thank you for spending some time with us in the moment. And everybody who is listening to this on their own time, thank you so much for spending some time with us in that regard as well. This has been another episode of Veg Networking Canada, where we had a really, really great conversation with the founder of Wild Heart Spirit Heart, Susan Turner. Susan, thank you so much for being here, and everybody will catch you soon on another episode. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you, Justin. Bye.